Hey, what are you up to?
Oh, hi. I'm listening to this awesome podcast.
Ooh, I love finding awesome new podcasts. What is it about?
Well, it's about a bunch of things. Sometimes history, sometimes hauntings, sometimes it's spooky, and sometimes it's funny, but it's always interesting.
Ooh, okay, that sounds great. What's special about it?
Well, each week, Celine picks a topic and reads it, and
Wait, what?
Matt creates a pairing of a treat and a drink to go with this peculiar tale.
Uh, wait.
And they
What?
talk about it and they joke about it.
Hold on.
And sometimes they have guests and have even more fun.
Wait a second.
What?
That's our podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you listening to our podcast?
Well, you know, we're heading into the long dark of winter, and that can make some people feel kind of isolated, and listening to Peculiar Pairings is a great way to feel like you're hanging out with good friends at the push of a button.
Well, that actually sounds really nice. Kind of sounds like everyone should be listening to Peculiar Pairings.
You know, I couldn't agree more.
So if this sounds like it's piqued your interest, you should search Peculiar Pairings podcast on your favorite podcasting platform today.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Come check it out.
Find us. We're there.
Welcome to the What the Fuck Is That podcast, where we ask the age-old question of what the fuck is that? I'm your host, Jess.
I'm Jen.
And Jesus Christ, today's case is so relevant. It's going to be so much fun. I mean, like, not fun, because it involves, like, a dead baby.
Horrible, yeah.
But
horrible thing.
But it's going to be so fun to tear her apart.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Bitch doesn't even have her comments on TikTok.
What's the point of that? If you're going to go on social media and be like, oh, I'm an advocate for this and, you know, whatever like that. Like, why are you going to turn your fucking comments off?
Which, in case you didn't read titles or don't read titles for whatever reason, we're talking about Casey Anthony and this pussy-ass bitch
Horrible human being.
is on TikTok now for whatever fucking reason. But let's not get into that yet because we have a whole case that's just going to be about this.
That's true.
What's going on? What you doing? How's life?
Life be lifing lately. Not gonna lie. Life be lifing.
We have a lot of stuff going on. We went to the cider tasting room this last weekend. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got it was a working trip
Yeah.
and outing.
It was,
you know,
it was a work expense. It's a write-off. What does that
Exactly.
mean? You just take it and you write it off. Have you watched Schitt's Creek?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay, I need you to watch the whole thing. It's like a very specific sense of humor, which is why I think a lot of people don't like it. But it's so funny when you just accept the humor as is. Like, it's so good.
I know that's one of the ones I need to go and watch.
Yes, 10 out of 10 would suggest. But yeah, so that was super cool. And then we have
Yeah.
a wedding coming up next weekend. So that'll be a whole thing. Not either of
Yeah.
ours. We're both just happen to be in the same wedding.
Yeah.
Let's just clarify real fast.
Yeah, no, I am the maid of honor of one of our friends, mutual friends' wedding. And Jess is also in the bridal party. So that's fun. Maybe pictures to come from that.
I mean, I would think so. There's
Yeah.
very few times during the year that you and I actually take pictures together after 15 years of friendship anymore. And I feel like
Exactly.
that has to be one of them.
I mean, we got one at the cider tasting room. So
Yeah, not because either of us remembered, though. It's because my partner remembered.
this is true. Yeah. This is true.
He's like, you want me to take your picture? I'm like, oh, yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, and I mean, the property was gorgeous. Like, I didn't take any other pictures other than, I mean, the ones you sent. But it was absolutely gorgeous and a great day. And yeah, so we finally got a picture. I think that's the first of the year, actually, that we've.
Is it?
I think so.
Probably. I don't know. That sounds right. So tracks for us. I mean,
Yeah. Because I don't even think I have pictures of us from like Christmas or anything. All of my pictures that are ever at your house
Or the
or
kids.
around you are of your kids. Yeah.
makes sense. Somebody was like, "Hey, can you send me a picture of you?" And I'm like, you want like a recent one?" And they're like, "Yeah, like within the year." I'm like, "Hold on, give me a minute. I don't know if I have a good one."
I know my entire camera roll is the kids or Romeo.
Yeah,
That's it.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, like I have some that I look like a thumb in, but
I look like a thumb.
yeah, I'm like,
mean,
I need
not
to
wrong,
look
yeah.
semi-decent if I'm sending a picture of myself for like promotional shit. I was like, fuck. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, because most of your pictures within the last year, you're pregnant in.
Or have just given birth and have a child and vomit on me. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
So, yeah, that's a whole thing. But yeah, it's fine. I'll get better at it. I make content for what I want to do for a living, so you think I would get better at taking pictures of myself? No.
You would think, yeah.
Mm.
No.
Nah. Nah, nah,
Nah.
Do you like that? Just
No, I don't like that.
it got better, and by better I mean worse.
Yeah, that was not. Oh my gosh. This is what I deal with, guys. Every day for 15 years, even if we live in the same city or not.
I love when people don't realize how weird I am, and I'm like, oh. I hide it under this nice layer of makeup so you don't think I'm completely crazy.
You are completely crazy, though. I've known that.
All right, well, on that note, if you like whatever the fuck this is, be sure to head over to our Instagram. Our Instagram is WTF is that pod. Over there, you'll find the link to our link tree. Our link tree has the links to all of the pretty places to find us, including Patreon, which you can subscribe. Like, just $3 get you in on Patreon. And then we'll call you out on the show and be like, hey, look at this big money bags here, helping out a show. Over on our link tree, you can also find all the places to listen to us, all the places to see our faces when we do decide to post pictures. You can also find us on TikTok because we do actually post videos there. And as always, the very best way to help the show grow is through word of mouth. So if you too have a friend of many, many years and you just sometimes run out of shit to talk about, be sure to send them our videos and all the places to listen to us. And then you can be like, hey, look at these weirdos. See, we're not alone. And they'll be like, yeah, ha, 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 ha. And then you have more things to talk about. You're fucking welcome. And with that, let's get into this week's episode. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jess.
Have you ever heard of Caylee Anthony?
Who the fuck is Caylee Anthony?
Thanks for asking. I'd love to tell you. But clearly from our banter at the beginning, you know a little bit of who she is.
Oh, yeah. I know quite a bit about this case, but at the same time, I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of like the updates and stuff like that, except for the few things that have gone viral. So,
and I thought I knew this case, and then I started looking more into it. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot a ton of stuff. So let's get into it. It's batshit. It's fucking batshit. Okay, here we go. Caylee Marie Anthony was born August 9th of 2005. She lived in Orlando, Florida with her mom, Casey Anthony, and they also lived with Caylee's grandparents, Casey's parents, Cindy and George Anthony.
oh, she would have been a little Leo at 20 years old now.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, she would be turning 20 in August.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what we need to remember, is that this is an older case. Like, it's not a new case. I didn't realize how old it was until I started doing the notes, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you think, like, because, well, we lived through this case.
Oh yeah, I remember it all going down and like watching and waiting for the verdict.
Yeah. And so for us, it kind of feels like that was yesterday or like just a few years ago, when no, this happened a while ago. And you look back and you see, like, one, the technology, two, the outfits, three, like, so many different things. And it's like, oh, wow, I actually lived through this.
Yeah, it's fucking insane to think about. And the biggest thing I want people to remember while we are going through this is, at the time this is going down, she's 2. This little girl is 2. So just remember that as we get into things.
Just a baby.
So on June 16th, 2008, Caylee had told her parents, Cindy and George, that she was going out of town on a work trip to Jacksonville, Florida, and that she was going to be bringing Caylee along with her. At the time, her parents thought that she had a job working as an event planner for Universal Studios, and that during the day, Caylee was brought to a nanny while her mother, Casey, was working. That was the whole thing that has been going on for 2 years. During the month of June, Casey was seen partying at clubs, getting a tattoo that said Bella Vita, which means beautiful life, and acting as if she didn't have a fucking care in the world. Even entering a beauty competition and posting all over social media like there was nothing going on.
Remind me how old Casey was at this time?
She is 23, I believe. 22, 23.
Okay. So old enough to be like, hey, I'm a mom, I should buck up.
Yeah, old enough. And it's also weird because she's supposed to be on this quote unquote business trip in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And suddenly she's partying and getting tattoos. It's like, okay, but you brought your daughter with you. So what's going on here?
Yeah, where is she?
During that time, Casey's car ended up being impounded, and it was technically her parents' car, so her parents got the call to come to the impound lot to pick it up. The issue with this is the impound lot was in Orlando. Casey was meant to be in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that kind of shows that she's not exactly where she was supposed to be.
Yeah, also during this time, like, the grandparents would call and they would talk to Casey, and they would be like, hey, can I talk to Caylee? Just like the thing grandparents do, especially if you're living with your grandparents or your parents and they see their granddaughter all the time. And every time they asked to talk to Caylee, Casey would be like, oh, she's napping, oh, she's doing this, oh, she's doing that. And so they never actually talked to Caylee past seeing her of that June 16th date.
I feel like that's already suspicious, but then again, I already know what's happening. So I guess like at that time, it's kind of just like, okay, yeah, I guess I missed her again, you know, kind of thing.
I mean, but it's not one of those things that, unless you have other reasons to believe, is that suspicious? Because it's like, okay, she's 2. 2-year-olds are weird. It's sometimes it just is what it is. So that's not just in and of itself a big red flag.
Yeah.
Once Casey's parents had gotten to the car, they had said that it smelt like a body had been inside there.
Gross. Okay. One, how do you know what a body smells like? That's
I'd love to tell you. I'd love to tell you because her dad is a retired cop. And her mom is a nurse who spent years working in the morgue.
There you go. There it is.
There's the kicker. Like, those people would know.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm not going to lie. Like, there is a specific smell, especially like, at least with necrotic tissue. So that's like dying or dead tissue. That's kind of like rotting. So I know that sense, being a healthcare worker myself and being around and seeing necrotic tissue. but it's very different when it's still like on a live person compared to like an entire body that you can tell.
Yeah, well, and there was nothing in the car. It just had that smell is the problem.
Yeah.
Which, again, is a very, very specific smell. And those two people would know what that smell smelled like.
Yeah. We just said the word smell so many goddamn times.
Smelly smell that smells smelly. So now it's June 15th of 2008. Mind you, the last time that Caylee's grandparents saw her alive was June 16th. We are now at July 15th, and Cindy Anthony, who is Casey's mom, tracks her down at her boyfriend's house and ends up calling 911 like 3 times. The whole conversation between Cindy Anthony and 911 is also bizarre because she keeps, the first couple of times she calls, the first time she's like, oh, I want to bring someone in, like they've stolen money from me and stolen the car. And she's like, it's my daughter. And it's like, okay, well, we'll transfer you to the right people. And then she says it again. And then she just like kind of casually mentions when she's supposed to have my granddaughter, but she's not here. So that's the second call.
Okay.
The third call, Cindy is fucking hysterical. And is like, she admitted to me that the nanny took her and da-da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff. And then the 911 dispatcher is like, okay, like, can I talk to the mom? And Cindy's like, yeah, here, Casey, talk to her. And she sounds so apathetic.
Yeah.
The 911 dispatcher at one point is like, well, why didn't you call in if she's been missing for a month? Mind you, your 2-year-old has been missing for a month. Why didn't you call it in?
Yeah, that's hella suspicious.
You want to know what Casey said? I was using other resources to try to find her. Other than the police?
What?
Well, you have a fucking old-timey detective there, like, trying to help you track shit down? What do you mean?
I know, like, even if you hired a private investigator, like, they would still contact the police because this is a missing person. Not only a missing person, but a missing 2-year-old.
A literal missing baby. Like, a 2-year-old can't do shit on their own.
No. Have you seen 2-year-olds trying to walk? Most of the time, their head still gets in front of them and they fall over.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. And again, people deal with like different traumas differently, but she just sounds like she is so annoyed that she has to talk to 911 dispatch.
Oh, jeez.
She's just like, oh my God. Ugh. Like, I can just, it's like the whole 16-year-old attitude. Like, I can hear her eyes rolling.
So awful.
Casey ends up being arrested by the police the next day, and just her story gets more and more bizarre, and I genuinely cannot tell if she believes the bullshit that's coming out of her mouth, because it's utterly ridiculous.
I mean, I'm sure she does. She's having to try to sell it, which she's doing a bad job at it, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm sure she 100% believes it.
So first things first, when asked, hey, why weren't you concerned about your 2-year-old's whereabouts for a month? Casey told police that Caylee was with the babysitter, Zendaya Zanny Fernandez Gonzalez. She's like, hey, I don't know, she took her. I've been trying to get a hold of her and all the numbers are disconnected and she's gone and all this stuff. So police are like, okay, well, like, where do you usually drop Caylee off? They went to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
No one has lived in that apartment unit in months that Casey said she's been taking Caylee to. Not only that, there has never been a person named Zendaya in that has ever lived in the apartment complex.
Yeah, that's hella suspicious and hella weird.
To add on to it, just to like really catch her in her first lie, police ended up pulling the CCTV for the apartment complex. Mm-hmm. Guess who has never shown up to that apartment complex?
Casey Anthony and Caylee Anthony.
Casey fucking Anthony. So it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Like, I just don't understand the level of stupidity of this woman.
Like, how much do you have to buy your own lie to think you're going to get away with that?
Really?
Also, she's supposed to be a nanny, and she made up the name Zanny for the nanny. It very much gives when Dwight Schrute went to the dentist, and he was trying to hide it from Michael. And he's like, what's the name of your dentist? Crentist? Crentis the dentist?
I like how you remember that specifically.
Yes. Another thing that was kind of tracked down that police thought was odd was that when they contacted Universal, they were told that Casey Anthony had not been employed there in almost 2 years.
What?
Yeah.
So in almost Caylee's entire life, she has not been employed at Universal Studios.
No, but Casey has been getting up, getting herself and Caylee ready, and then going somewhere and doing something. Who fucking knows what?
What?
You want to know the best part of it, though?
Tell me.
So she was telling everyone she worked as an event planner for Universal.
Yeah.
No, she worked at like one of those picture kiosk booths. When she did work there.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, girl, do you think that like people can't look shit up?
Right?
Like maybe you could have gotten away with this a long time ago when there wasn't a way of like accurate like keeping of shit.
Yeah.
But
all of
it's
social
2008.
media. Yeah, all of social media. It's all going to be all over already. Like, not only that, so like they obviously we have no disrespect for like the camera or photo booth people at those kinds of theme parks. What it is the fact that like she's making it seem like she has this position of status where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a whole event coordinator for Universal Studios. Like, that is an impressive job to have. But to then actually only be one of these people within these booths, it's like, really, like, why are you lying about what your position is? Like, it doesn't matter what your position is at Universal Studios. You work for fucking Universal Studios.
I think it just really shows the level of narcissism that she has, where she's just like, I'll just lie about what I do, because she has kind of just been given the pass to lie all the time.
Yeah.
Like, Casey got full on kicked out of college, and her entire family lied to the rest of her family, saying that she had graduated, even throwing her a congratulations party.
Okay, her entire family's weird.
And then they pretended and lied to the family for like most of Casey's pregnancy, saying that she wasn't pregnant.
Okay. If she was
But,
going to
like,
keep the baby,
why?
why does that even matter? Like, just fucking say it.
Yep. There's also the whole fact that we don't know who Caylee's dad is. There's 2 different men who she said were the dad, but they have been proven to not be the dad.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So all this is going on. Casey is arrested for child neglect, giving false statements, and obstruction of justice. Because, also during all this time when she's talking about Zanny the nanny and working at Universal, she's also listing all these names of people and being like, yeah, well, I got the information from Zanny, from this guy that I worked with. And she's like, well, he hasn't worked there for like 9 months, but his son was nannied there. The guy didn't have a son and hadn't worked there in 6 years.
Oh, jeez.
And there were other people that she said she had talked to about Caylee going missing. One of them didn't exist, that she said worked at Universal.
Oh, jeez.
And the rest hadn't worked there in years. So it's just fucking ridiculous, like the lies that she is telling.
I don't understand how someone can just like lie one so easily like that about something like this. But then to not even try and make it a good lie, like to make sure that things are accurate.
My other thing is she's saying she talked to all these people who are old coworkers. Her mom found her at her boyfriend's house. You didn't tell your boyfriend who knew your daughter that she was missing and supposedly kidnapped by the nanny?
Yeah, that's also very suspicious.
It just doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, I understand to a point, like maybe the shock over like a day or two and being like, no, I'll figure it out, I'll fix it. But a month, and then B, not even telling your boyfriend who you were seen at, like caught at his house.
Yeah, that's so concerning.
Now we're at December 11th of 2008. Mind you, this is like 6 months since the last time Caylee had been seen alive by her grandparents was.
Yeah.
Caylee's skeletal remains were found in a wooded area less than a mile from the Anthony's home.
Poor baby.
Less than a mile.
That says so much more too. Like, how can that child have gotten less than a mile her skeletal remains out there? Like, what?
Oh, so she didn't go anywhere because her remains were found inside of a trash bag. And it was also seen to have duct tape on her skull, presumably where the mouth would be. And it wasn't just one piece of tape. It was 3 pieces of tape over the area where the mouth would be. So assuming that she had duct tape on her mouth, and Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Jan I listened to it so many times and I'm still going to fuck it up. Garavala? Sure. I'm doing the best I can. I'll put it below, but but she essentially could tell that by the decomp on the tape that the tape was put on Caylee's mouth peri-mortem.
That poor baby.
So we know before she died, she was at least duct taped over her mouth.
That's so horrible. Nobody should ever have to go through that, and especially not a 2-year-old. Like, can you imagine how terrified she must have been?
Yeah, not knowing what was going on, just like the poor baby. I don't get it. Understandably, with Caylee's remains at this point just being skeletal, it was pretty hard for medical examiners to do an autopsy.
Yeah.
And because of that, they had to put the official cause of death as undetermined, but it was ruled as a homicide by undetermined means.
Okay, well, at least there's that.
Yeah, so at least they're saying, yes, something nefarious did go on here, because clearly a 2-year-old is not going to duct tape their own mouths 3 times and then put themselves in a bag near their family home.
No, I mean, your kids have done some stupid things and like almost, hospital trips were almost made. But no, I have never seen a 2-year-old just purposely go get duct tape. Not only that, I have trouble cutting duct tape sometimes. So to imagine a toddler doing that, no.
Yeah, it's just not something that would just happen.
No.
And I know some people are like, oh, well, maybe whoever did it is trying to frame them. Okay. There's just also too many other weird coincidences that went on before this. And if so many coincidences happen one right after another in a row around one event, it tells me that our assumption is correct and that child was killed by her mother.
Yeah.
I also listened to this weird documentary on YouTube. I'll try to find the link and post it in the show notes. But it was essentially this woman that Casey Anthony had befriended while in jail. And the gal had been in jail before Casey Anthony. So she had no access to television and didn't know what was going on with this case, didn't know who Casey Anthony was.
Yeah.
She just knew that Casey was kept by herself because she is a high profile inmate. And if you are thought to be fucking with kids, people will fuck you up.
Yep.
So this inmate ended up befriending her, and even she said, yeah, when Casey would talk about Caylee, it just like was very little caring. Like she didn't seem to care about where Caylee was, what was going on with the case. And there's even like, you know, when you go to jail and you talk on the little jail phone and you go, hello, that with her and her mom.
Like how?
Hello. But like that with her and her mom. And her dad is wearing like a shirt to help people find Caylee because this is before they find her remains.
Yeah.
And she just sounds so fucking annoyed that people are trying to find her missing baby. She's just like, yeah, sure.
Like, you would, if you were innocent, you would be actively being like, is there any news? Have they found her? Like, anything like that, especially if you're being framed. Like, it's like, you don't care what's going on with you as a mom. Like, once you become a mom, you really don't care what happens to you in that sense. And, like, if something happened to your kid and that was true, you're innocent, you would care more
You'd be
about
losing
whether
your shit.
Yeah, you would care more whether your baby's been found than the fact that you're in jail.
The other thing is people can't even say, oh, well, maybe she was just having a really hard time in jail and her mental health was suffering. No, because in that same clip, she is caught joking and laughing with the bailiff that's there. Like, haha, this phone is so loud. Ha ha ha. Like talking, being herself, being real jovial. And then her mom starts to talk about Caylee and she's just, yep, sure. She's like, what the fuck?
It's like Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's weird. So now we're in 2011 and the trial is finally taking place. And the prosecution had a lot of weird little bits of evidence. They were arguing that Casey wanted to have a carefree party girl life, that she just didn't want the burden of being a mom, and killed Caylee using chloroform and duct tape. So the duct tape, very clearly why we think that, because of the skeletal remains with the duct tape over the mouth. But then the chloroform, because there was traces of not only decomposition in the back of Casey's car, but also chloroform in the trunk.
Sketchy.
Yeah, and then we are able to know that that strand of hair that was found is Caylee's because, first of all, they were only able to do mitochondrial DNA on it because they didn't have the root. Like, they just had the strand.
Yeah.
And they were able to narrow it down saying, okay, well, it has to be Cindy, Casey, or Caylee. Understandable, it's the family car. All of them are going to be in there. They were then able to narrow it down further based off of the color, the length, and the fact that the hair was like virgin hair, where it hasn't been dyed or bleached at all. The only person of those three people who wouldn't have dyed or bleached hair would have been Caylee.
Yeah, she's a baby.
Just to add to it more, the strand of hair had this thing, which I thought was really cool and I found out about today. It had this thing called banding on it. And banding only happens on hair when a body has started to decompose. So it doesn't come from a live body. Banding on hair like that only comes from a dead body.
Yeah, so there's a lot of evidence stacked there.
Yeah, there's also the fact that on the family's computer, there was a search history for searches like how to make chloroform. No, that's not how you say that.
Chloroform.
Chloroform. There's also the fact that on the family's computer, there were searches for things like how to make chloroform, neck breaking, and foolproof suffocation.
That's so concerning.
Also, how stupid do you have to be to look up foolproof suffocation?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What does it mean? What? What do you mean?
What does it mean?
Other than all of that argument, there's all of the other things that we already said with Casey being evasive, talking about how she was with this make-believe nanny Zanny, and just every single lie she has told. Like, she literally has not told the truth about anything up until this point. I'm pretty sure you could ask her, hey, is the sky blue? And she'll go, no, it's orange. With a straight
Probably.
face.
Yeah, probably. And totally believe it.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, it's orange. It's like, no, it's not. Caylee's defense was led by Jose Baez, and he did something kind of like out of left field. He had said that Caylee had accidentally drowned in the family pool and that Casey's father, George Anthony, helped cover up the death of Caylee.
Wow. To go and blame it on her dad.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird because it's like, oh, okay, we're just throwing out fucking random shit now.
Yeah.
Awesome. How did that hair with banding and decomp get into your trunk? And why were they so concerned that it was impounded? And why was your mom acting the way that she was in the 911 calls if it was all just a family cover-up?
Yeah, and if I'm remembering correctly, that man adored Caylee.
They both did. They were such doting grandparents. They essentially did everything for Caylee when Casey was home.
So to think that her own grandfather could ever do anything like that to her, like, I'm pretty sure he would have like killed himself before he ever hurt Caylee.
And then it was absolute bullshit because then the defense also tried to claim that Casey was sexually abused by her father, which was never proven. But why are you just throwing that shit out there?
That's so horrible. Because he's trying to prove a point. That's why.
Yeah, just trying to prove, oh, well, these aren't good people the way that you think they are. He's a retired cop, but he's not a good person. But it's also like, okay, but your client literally has not said a single truthful thing during this entire investigation.
Yeah, so any accusation she makes, I take with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her, which is a whole thing. The defense then tries to talk about why there would be this like looking up of chloroform on the family computer. And they were trying to say that Casey's mom, Cindy, was trying to look up chlorophyll having to do with her plants. And that chloroform just showed up and she happened to click on it.
Oh, just happened to click on chloroform.
Also, who the fuck doesn't know what chloroform is?
Yeah.
Like, and mind you, the search result wasn't just chloroform. It was how to make chloroform.
Yeah. It would be one thing to like look up chloroform, just the word.
Yeah, if you were looking at chlorophyll and you accidentally hit chloroform, okay, I get it. Like, shit happens. But also, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, none of this makes sense.
You're right. You are 100% correct. It is all fucking stupid and irrational.
Yeah.
Another thing the defense harped on was that the medical report stated that there was no note of drugs in the body. However, chloroform doesn't stay in the body for more than a few days.
Yeah. She had been dead for, 6 months by the time she was found?
Yep, and she was just skeletal. So it was literally impossible to tell if it was in her system at all.
But I mean, if you find it in the car, you find the duct tape, like, you can make some pretty easy conclusions there.
Yeah. Oh, and then also going back to the thing where they were saying it could be an accidental drowning, the professional testimony for the case said this is not what happens when parents react to an accidental drowning. Even the most doped up parents whose child is blue will call 911 in a panic for the slim chance that their child could be helped.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see your child, like, possibly hurt or dying and go, well, I better go bury that in the woods.
Yeah. No.
Like, put
That
duct
doesn't
tape
happen.
and put her in a bag and go bury her in the woods. It's like, no, not a normal response.
No, not at all.
We have all that. We have professional testimony saying, no, these claims are wrong. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Then we have Casey lying left, right, and center about stupid shit and just making stuff up. And then we get to the verdict, which comes out in July 5th of 2011. And Casey Anthony was found not guilty of murder, aggravated manslaughter, or child abuse, but was found guilty to 4 counts of lying to the police.
I don't understand that jury whatsoever.
I'm like, you had all this evidence, literally, and it's not even, people be like, oh yeah, well, it's circumstantial. Yeah, but it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, all revolving around a 2-year-old disappearing. And you mean to tell me you heard all of that and went, nah, I think she's an all right lady. I don't think she killed her baby.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it all is circumstantial, like, you as a jury member are meant to convict or let go based on what's it called? Oh my gosh, what is, I have the word in my head and I can't think of
Probable
it.
deniability.
Yeah, essentially. Like, there has to be, without a reason of doubt.
Yes.
There we go. Like, there are so many doubts in this case. Like, even if you just look at one, that's one reasonable doubt. So, therefore,
Yeah, it's just kind of thing after thing after thing. And the jury went, no, we don't think she did it. The worst part of that is the way our judicial system is set up is that now she has been acquitted. She can never be tried for this again.
the only things that we can say is that she walked off scot-free. Like, she got away with murder.
Yeah, especially considering that, like, she had this little guilty for 4 counts of lying to police. They sentenced her to time served. So she was literally released 12 days after this verdict was read.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So she just got a slap on her wrist, and no one is asking any other questions. No one's like, hey, if you didn't do it, let's find out who actually killed this baby. Nope. No one is fucking talking about it.
I don't understand how that happens. Like, okay, someone is deemed innocent of this crime. A baby is still murdered. A baby is still dead. So why are we not trying to find who actually did it?
Yeah, if it
she
isn't
did it.
you, if it isn't you and it isn't your family, then who the fuck did it? Did this magical, like, Zanny person just illegally rent a space and that's why she didn't show up on any record and then, like, was actually taken and given to somebody and who killed her? Because if that's the case and that's what she's saying is happening, there's a bigger problem, is that somebody is there murdering babies. And we're just like, well, it wasn't Casey. Let's move on.
Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of the times, especially recently, I've had a lot of issues with our legal system, our legal and justice system. And this is kind of that reminder where it's like, I remember, like you said, when we were talking in the beginning, that we lived through this, and that you said that we, heard the verdict live. Like, I remember waiting for that verdict. I remember hearing it and seeing it and thinking, how? Like, how is that possible?
Yeah,
Because
literally made 0 sense.
none. And so to actually hear those words, not guilty, it, like, I wonder if that's how people felt like when they heard like the O.J. Simpson trial.
I literally compared her to O.J. Simpson because he kind of did the same thing after he was acquitted of his ex-wife's murder. He's like, we're going to go out there and we're going to find who did it. Did he actually do anything to try to find out who killed her? No, because he did. And she's doing the same thing.
Yep.
The worst part, which we kind of talked about in the opener, is now this bitch is trying to rebrand herself as a victim advocate.
I don't understand how you just go and live about life after this. Like, people know who you are, know what you look like. Like, how are people not harassing her more? How are people just kind of letting this go and just passing along and saying, well, yeah, baby's dead, but what can we do? She wasn't guilty. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Clearly, she didn't think good things were going to happen because she has her comments turned off like a little pussy-ass bitch.
Because that's what she is.
Yeah. Oh, the funniest part of that TikTok that she posted is she's like, I've been involved in this work since 2011. I'm like, oh, since 2011? Do you mean when you were on trial for the murder of your 2-year-old baby?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't...
Like, what do you mean?
She's absolutely ridiculous, and I don't understand her thought process at all. Like, I don't understand how she is the way that she is and thinks that it's okay.
And again, I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm just looking at things and noticing things. I think she just has such bad narcissistic tendencies that she can't acknowledge that what she's doing is a problem.
That's so dangerous.
I know. She is dangerous.
Doesn't she have more kids now?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't look that up.
I'm pretty sure there was like this whole thing where like either that or like she was looking to try again or like be a mom again or something like that. Or she does have kids. I don't know. One of the two. And it's like, how are people trusting you with your own kid again?
Like, I get that you're pretty, but also I think pussy from a baby killer would just not be as good.
I don't think so either.
Like, regardless of how pretty you are, like, this is murderous pussy, and not in a good way.
Yeah. No, I don't think I could even get past that.
No, I hate it. But yeah, I'm genuinely concerned that she is just talking about her victim advocacy thing that she does now, but is not trying to find what happened to her daughter. She's just like, well, she's dead. Moving on. It's like, okay.
Yeah. This is not cool. I don't like
No.
it. It makes me very upset that she is the way that she is and that she's doing what she does. And now the fact that she's on TikTok and trying to rebrand herself and make herself look good again, like, no, I don't like it.
But the internet is harassing her, which I do love and appreciate the internet for, because she deserves to rest in distress.
Perfect. Love it.
And that was the story of Caylee Anthony and her piece of shit mother, Casey Anthony.
Well, thank you for that, Jessica.
You're so welcome.
Are you ready for your disturbing fact?
No, but you're going to just fucking tell it to me anyways. Like, I don't have a fucking choice anymore. Some bullshit, but
No.
fucking go, I guess.
No, you don't. You don't have a say in this anymore.
Bullshit. shit.
You will shed about 40 pounds of skin in your lifetime.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's like a medium dog of skin, and I don't like it.
Not only that, so I also work in a hospital, remember? Do you know the grippy socks?
Yes.
Okay, well, when you put grippy socks over feet that have not been washed and lotioned and moisturized and, whatever for however long, and then you take off said grippy sock.
Okay, I'm going to vomit. Ugh.
It's like snowflakes of skin.
My tummy hurts now.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna go clean every surface in my house now.
Yeah, you probably should. Because I have another one for another day of that.
Fuck you.
You love me.
Debatable right now. But if you like whatever the fuck this is, be sure to head over to our Instagram. Our Instagram is WTF is that pod. Like and rate us on all the things. Go ahead and go over to Patreon if you want to shout out and to give us a little bit of money so we can keep doing what we're doing. And just tell a friend about us and all that good stuff. And like put lotion on and wash your feet and go dust. I don't know, just go dust something, you little nasties. Bye.
Bye.
Gross. I hate everything about it. It makes my tummy.
You're